they're going through this identity shift. They're going through this business shift. They're going through this responsibility shift quite a lot. So if you can underline the grappling that you had to do going from game studio to e-commerce selling shoes, that would be very helpful for these people who are also grappling with this issue right now.
Sure. It's interesting you mentioned identity, right? And that's actually, I was going through, I would say almost like identity crisis at that moment when this happened. I was actually at the time winding down my game studio. I had the studio for 17 years and I had amazing partners. I had amazing team that I worked with. We had huge successes. We worked on some very notable games and titles, and we had a great time. But at the same time, also we went through some major challenges. There were multiple times that we were so close to going out of business. And again, you look at everything, you realize, oh, it's all just a journey. And it's actually a journey within. It's a journey about you, about self-discovery, about figuring out who you are. What's your magic? What's your power? What's your vulnerability? And how do you face your fears? What are your fears? These things will all manifest themselves through a business, through whatever you do. And I would say how Brethren came, or the timing around that, it was really when I was going through another transition in my life, and I will actually even call it a metamorphosis. Or actually, I went through multiple metamorphoses. It wasn't just one, because every time I thought, oh, wow, I'm done. Okay, I learned these things. I leveled up. I'm good. And then I got pulled into another one. It's just every time I thought, okay, I know who I am now. You remember would say, do you really know who you are?
Yeah.
And then I will ask myself again. And that's when really I didn't realize it at the time. I had defined myself by this role I played, by this, because I was this gaming executive, this CEO, always working on really cool cutting edge projects and working with really cool partners. So I always had cool things going on in my life. And I guess now looking back, they were all external. And so every time I would sit down with a friend or a new business associate, whenever they would ask me, hey, Tian, what you working on? I'd say, oh, yeah, I'm working on this and working with these people. And it was just always great stories to tell. And I got used to that. And that became my identity. But as we were winding down the gaming studio, suddenly I wasn't working on anything anymore. Suddenly I didn't have cool projects anymore. Suddenly I wasn't working with cool partners. And suddenly I didn't know who I was anymore. Especially when I sat down with people, when they asked me, hey, Tian, like, what's new? What you been working on? And I remember there was a period of my life, like a couple months or so, I would try to avoid that question. I would get embarrassed because I don't know. I wasn't working on anything. I'm trying to figure that out. And that was very uncomfortable for me because that was so new. I never had that. I never experienced that in my entire life. Because I had co-founded the gaming studio when I was 24 years old. Right? It was just shortly after college. After college, I got involved in 5 tech startups. I did music for a while. So I was just always doing cool things. And then this game studio came about. Again, it was through this very powerful, I would say, a divine calling, which I didn't realize at the time. It got me on this beautiful journey. But yeah, back in 2017, I was really asking myself, who am I? Until one day, through a dear friend of mine who was going through something similar. And I realized he was a little ashamed. He was ashamed of what he was going through, even though from my perspective, wow, this man was going through something so beautiful and profound. And it showed character that to him, he didn't want to talk about it. He shared it with me. But then I was like, brother, what are you doing? Can I tell your story to others? Let me tell them through my lens. And he trusted me. He said, yeah, sure, Tian, you say whatever you want. And when I told that story, I just saw how his body just relaxed and he just felt this ease and this, oh my God, I'm actually pretty incredible. I'm like, yes, you are. But what's interesting was in telling his story, I realized I was going through the exact same thing. I was also like I didn't know how to tell my story, but I had no problem telling his story.
Hmm.
But as soon as I finished his story, I realized I could now tell my story. And what's amazing was literally after that happened, the next day I met this new person, a new friend, and she asked me, Tian, what are you working on? And without a pause, without any hesitation, the words that came out of my mouth were, I'm working on myself.
Mm.
That's it. And
Mm.
like it just came out fluidly. Yeah, I'm working on myself right now. I'm working on the
Mm.
most amazing and beautiful project that I
Mm.
know.
I like that.